I remember the first day that we saw Francesca and her team. They made a lot of details. It was really not normal. Sometimes more than 20 revisions.
Yeah, what I also do remember is that when we did the site visits, she was really into with a small meter to measure everything, that everything was correct, that everything was into the detail that she designed. All the different corners for the openings of the doors, for the openings of the windows, every angle was different.
If you see that someone is taking care of some tiny details, that for me is dignity. It was important that people could place their hand with gentleness. The size of this handrail is that one of the endings of the tool to make pasta. Because it's a good measure, it's handy, it works.
Remember that we put always the red crosses on the facade to point exactly where the stones has to be, that every stone has to be in the right position.
I remember that there were 95 different types of stones, and they all had their own position. And in total, 60,000 stones.
They came with a truck loaded with pallets, and all the stones were numbered.
It makes you curious. You also want to go in there as a visitor. If you see a small hole in the big facade, and you ask what's behind. I think this museum, even without the content, it would be just a very interesting walk throughout the museum with different spaces put in a nice order behind each other.
I love it because it's very big, but it doesn't feel cold or it doesn't feel big, but it gives a warm feeling. From outside, you don't see what it is. And that's also the idea of the beginning age. It's closed outside, but it's very beautiful inside. It's all those beautiful views, the flowers, the small gardens.
This space is a very particular space. As an artist, you have to respond to it. So when we were talking about where to place each work, for me this space was very interesting because my work both has a relationship to the height of the space, the idea of looking up and the light coming from above, and to the garden. So the work of Pelegi Baghidi in the long corridor was specifically made for that space. So it's the huge banner that really works with the height of the space and the sound piece that was created on site in the space to really hear like how it can resonate with the acoustics.
It's not just the white box where you hang up your work or you present your work and you have the neutral space, but no, you need the dialogue. You have to cope with it. And when you succeed there, that's strong.
More than 25 international offices were interested in taking participation in this competition. The other proposals were quite, I can say, straightforward. An extension, literally, of the existing building of 1958. It was very clear that Francesca Torzo came with something completely different. We didn't understood the proposal. I can be very honest about that. It was only after the presentation that she gave that we understood this was an exceptional proposal from an unknown architect with not a long reference list. We aimed for spaces that have an outspoken character and personality that would form and shape the dialogue, not only with the visitor, but with the artists, with the public, and so on, to create an experience that is fundamentally different.
What I'm probably the most proud of and grateful is that people discover architecture in this building. They discover the proportions of the spaces, they discover how perspective works, how light works, textures, materials, relationship inside, outside. It's very exceptional. I don't know another building in Belgium where you have such an architectural experience.
The choice was to make a brick building. It needed to, on one side, belong to an historical context. On the other side, it needed to have a presence on its own, because public buildings need to represent something. We wish to complement the existing wing with a wing which would offer a labyrinthian sequence of rooms, varying size, light qualities, even sound qualities, that could allow the plurality of parkour that you meet in a city. So there is a sort of elongation of some experiences that you encounter in the city, like this passage, that are all these secret shortcuts from street to garden to courtyard. These rooms belong to each other so closely, thanks to the sharpening and becoming subtle of the threshold among them. So it's almost like drawing a line, so the air almost could kiss from room to room. Before entering a building, no, you have a space. You don't have a glass, you have a space. So you need a lapse of shadow, a moment, an antichambre, before entering the building. That also relates to tuning, in a way, in continuity with the way of walking in a city, Hasselt.
Visitors just can't imagine that 25 people are working behind the scenes in the back office. But we have the beautiful relationship with the Beguinage.
That choice was because there are in the team people that are here working in Z33 since so many years. And people were used to always walk along this rhythm of the windows of the Beguinage houses towards a garden. And so it was important to, on one side, to hold a cipher of that experience and memory for them, because humans are sentimental beings, not in a romantic way, but they do are. And on the other side, to tune a consonance with the existing context.
I'm always thinking at Bilbao, it's not a very important big city, but everyone wants to come to Bilbao to see the building and the museum. And I hope a little bit that people will come to Hasselt just to visit Z33.
I've been here a few times with family and friends, and the look on their faces, what we made, I think it's extraordinary.
I hear from some colleagues who are pretty new in the company, and when they hear Z33, did you make that? Mm-hmm. Wow!